So next up, we have Sky Metals, ASX code SKY. The company is developing the Tallebung Tin Project in central New South Wales to provide a stable future source of tin amid rising demand and supply instability. Presenting today is Managing Director Oliver Davies. Oliver, thank you for your time. Over to you.
Thanks, Abby, and thanks very much for having us on the Share Cafe. To start us off, this is a photo of our project, which is right in the middle of New South Wales, and it's a big old tin mine. And this photo shows the old crusher, machinery shed, the old open pit there as well, and you can see some water in the old open pit. So a big old tin project, and that we're looking to get that back into production to supply the world with tin that we're seeing a growing demand for. Next slide, please. Quick disclaimer there, but it's on our website if you want to have a look at it. Just a corporate overview of the company. We have a very experienced board and management. We've got Norm Seckold as our chairman, who's got many years of experience in taking mining companies from exploration right through to production. And Richard Hill and Remus Karitis there as well, who actually have got one of the nearest mines to us in New South Wales. They started that with Aurelia, and obviously have some good experience in the area and taking exploration projects right into mining. Our market cap's around 30 million, a bit of cash on hand, and quite a tightly held stock at the moment. And importantly as well, we've engaged a few advisors to get us through this process as quickly as possible and get ourselves into production as quickly as we can. Next slide, please. Just to talk a bit about tin, we just heard quite a lot about data centers and telecommunications and things from Peter. Tin is vital in all of these. So tin is used as a solder in the electronics sector. In 2003, the EU banned the use of lead, which was previously the only alternative. And now tin is the only solder in the world, and it holds all of these electronics together, which means that as we're seeing more data centers and things for AI, as we're seeing renewable energy sources increase and the use for more circuit boards in those, and then also tin's use in solar PVs as well. All of this is seeing quite a large increase in tin demand, and really changing the market and increasing the tin price as we see that increasing demand. This is a graph here taken from Macquarie Strategy Group, and it's showing the increase of tin in three key uses. So looking at solar PVs, automotives, and semiconductors, and we can see that as the demand from those sectors is increasing, so too is the tin price, and this is forecast to keep increasing for the next years, and this isn't taking into account something like what we're seeing in the increase of metals used in data centers and things as well. Next slide, please. And the real thing that is underpinning this, we've got this increasing demand. We have basically an inelastic tin price, which means that because a small amount of tin is used in everything, there's quite a lot of tin used globally, but if the tin price goes very, very high, then your phone or microwave or whatever product doesn't increase in price. Only the tin miners make more money producing that tin. So it's got a very good upside to it as well. And currently tin is largely from China and Indonesia, which both are facing struggles. China hasn't put on any new supply from its mining in the last few years, which is what you can see in that middle graph there. It's, if anything, actually their mining supply is declining while they are needing to import more and more tin, obviously being one of the big end users. And then Indonesia as well is seeing year on year, split up into months in that graph, year on year decline in tin production. So there are also very limited reliable and ethical sources of tin, and very few opportunities on the ASX, and that's where Sky Metals comes in. Next slide, please. So we have the Tallebung Tin Project that we saw a photo there of the start. It's a large-scale historic open pit mine, and what we can see in this aerial photo is the old open pit, the old tailings dam and things, but given the almost 100-year history of mining in this area, there's a number of shortcuts here that we can tap into and get this project back into production much quicker than a greenfields project. So with the power lines already there, we can upgrade those and plug into them. All roads, there's an old water pipeline down the Lachlan River and things. So lots of infrastructure available to us already to quickly move into production on this large resource. Next slide, please. So we already have a large bulk scale resource defined here, but we are finding new high grade areas as well as expanding the footprint of that high grade area. Most recently, we drilled 11 meters at over 1% tin. And for those unfamiliar with tin, 1% tin is equivalent in value to about 4 grams per ton gold, which is really, really high grade gold intercepts. And we're seeing very high grade tin intercepts here. But then in addition to being very high grade, they are also very cheap and easy to process and open pittable, very close to surface. So all of these things are key factors in this project that make it very desirable. And we're finding more and more of these high grade areas that are important mainly for early mining. These are areas we would mine at the start, make more money off them, and then pay off our CapEx very quickly, and then move into mining the lower grade large areas of this deposit as well. Next slide, please. So the key advantages that we have at Tallebung is that it has the potential to be a very low cost producer. We've got low cost mining, given that it's open pittable, very close to surface, shallow dipping, all really good things for mining. We have this exceptional upgrade with ore sorting, which is an emerging technology that is absolutely ideal for this deposit. And we're very, very lucky to have such a great piece of technology combined with the ideal deposit. And then that goes into low cost processing, which is just a simple gravity plant. It's the same thing that they would have been using to mine and process tin here 100 years ago. It's just waters and tables and things that concentrate up the tin. And then from that, we get a very high payability tin concentrate that, as we saw before, is becoming more and more in demand globally with the increasing demand in tin and decreasing supply. Next slide, please. So already we've got a large resource defined, but a much larger exploration target there as well. And all of this is limited by drilling, and it doesn't include our most recent drilling. And the ore sorting we are finding here gets rid of about 80% of the mass that we mine and recovers almost 100% of the tin and upgrades it about 5 times, which is a really important process for keeping not only our operational costs low, but also our capital costs. And importantly, our latest drilling is not included in these resources. So already we are growing this deposit well beyond what we have already. Next slide, please. So just to talk quickly about ore sorting, one of the things that makes this deposit really great for ore sorting is tin's very, very dense. So the tin grains here have a density of about 7 tons per cubic meter, and the rest of the rock has a density of about 2.7 tons per cubic meter. So the huge contrast there means that the tin grains stop a lot more X-rays, and it's X-rays that the ore sorter uses to spot the tin, and then it fires off the rocks that have tin in, and everything else gets dropped off as waste. And from a very conservative point, we have found that we're getting a 5 times upgrade or 500% times upgrade, and it rejects 80% of the mass. So we take a 0.15% tin resource grade and take it over 0.7%. Most recently, though, we've done some test work running a very aggressive ore sort. And in this one, we only take the large bits of tin and we don't worry about the smaller bits. We're still seeing an 83% recovery of tin, but getting rid of 98% of the mass that we mine. So that's a huge upgrade. And then we take that 0.1% tin and upgrade it to nearly 4.5% tin, which we were talking before about 1% tin being very high grade. 4.5% tin is exceptional. Next slide, please. Just quickly, this is just showing what the X-rays see in the ore sorter. So the X-rays image the rocks that you can see in this picture here, and the denser bits are darker. and it classifies the denser bits as tin, and that's how the machine knows to fire those bits off and get rid of the rest. And it's that simple process that the machine uses to then give us the upgrade that we're seeing. Next slide, please. And already in the deposit, we're seeing some higher grade zones that are important for this early mining potential to pay off that capex quickly, and finding more and more on the margins. Next slide, please. And just looking at how we're progressing through the project, we've already got a bulk tonnage resource. We've seen exceptional metallurgical test work. We're now infilling and discovering more higher grade areas of this deposit, while concurrently we're moving through our environmental permits as well, which shows the conviction we have for this project and mining and producing tin very shortly. And all this will work to getting feasibility studies to commence mining. Next slide, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ollie. So just following on to that last slide there, in terms of a timeline, how far away are you from a final investment decision on the Tallebung project?
I think that's really dependent on how our results come in over the next few weeks. We felt as though we would be a lot closer at the start of the year, but with our recent discoveries of these high-grade areas of the deposit, that's meant that we've had to go back and do some more drilling on those, which has identified really good continuity in those high-grade areas, but it has meant that it's delayed that work towards feasibility studies. And the reason we chose that is that locking down how much of this high grade material is obviously going to be really important in putting our best foot forward when we talk about the finances for this project. But we think we found good continuity in those zones. They're still open, but now I think we're at a point where we can start looking a bit more at the financial choices there, and really getting that resource up to scratch so that we can work towards that final investment decision.
And so, Ollie, you did focus on the Tallebung project in your presentation, but could you comment more on the other assets the company holds and how they're looking?
Yeah, we do have quite a broad portfolio of gold and copper projects as well. And at the moment, we're not doing a lot of work on those. We're very focused on Tallebung and getting ourselves to, we think that this is a very simple project that we can develop very quickly. And so it's taking our focus, but there is a lot of value in those other projects. And as always, we're working to make sure that we can see benefits for those projects while advancing our flagship.
And is there any government support for tin in Australia, given that the global supply is so dominated by China and Indonesia?
Yeah, I think the support is coming on. Just recently, there was $19 million given to an American company by the US Department of Defense there to start. They're getting quite serious now about locking in tin supply. So not just from Australia is it looking like there's financing, but also from the US to get serious about these supply chains and making sure that they're stable sources.
And is the TOMRA technology widely used, and what effect does it have on, where projects sit in the cost curve?
It's a good question. So the TOMRA is very widely used, and they use it down in Australia's largest tin mine, Renison, and have been for about 6 years or so, and seeing great results there. But their deposit is not suited like our deposit is. I haven't seen a tin deposit that is as well suited as Tallebung to ore sorting. It's very unique in that the tin is in discrete grains, which allow ore sorting to work really well. In most tin deposits, the tin is sort of evenly distributed throughout the whole rock, and that makes it very difficult to eject any rocks without losing tin. Whereas because we have the grains very discreetly hosted in individual rocks, it means we can get rid of the waste without getting rid of any tin. So it's a very unique deposit in that aspect for the results that we're seeing so far. So ore sorting is something that, while it probably will work to some extent on most deposits, it would be very rare to find a deposit that it works as well as it does at Tallebung. So yeah, quite an ideal deposit matched with the ideal technology, I think.
Great. And then finally, what are the key things for investors to look out for over the next 6 months?
I think it's quite an exciting time as we're discovering these higher grade zones. We're building up the project geology and then moving that into the project economics as well. We're improving that metallurgy. Obviously, that recent ore sorting result is quite exciting for us and shows the potential of that technology on this particular deposit. And I think all of these things are coming together at the moment, and it's really a time for Sky to show all of the different pieces coming together and where that's building our company.
Great. Thanks so much for your time, Ollie, and for your presentation. We'll be keeping a close eye out for those updates, and I hope you have a great weekend. But before you do go, there's a few questions in the Q&A box. If you could look into those and reply to them, that would be great.
Will do. Thank you very much. Thanks, Abby.
Thank you.